Good Monday evening. I would love to say that today was a take your pants off Monday, but it is not. Welcome to another edition of the Sideline Junkies DC Sports Rundown. It's me, it's the big guy KG, joined tonight. My two gentlemen that I know is gonna shoot straight all night long. They're gonna give it to you real, they're gonna give it to you raw. That's the boss BJ, the Midnight Rider Ben. Gentlemen, of course, how we started off first and foremost. How y'all doing tonight?
Everybody into consideration, right?
Just fine.
Just fine.
Like a man whose only team won yesterday. That's what it sounds like.
Hey man, I can't control those. I can't. That's outside of my control realm. All I can do is pay the fines to the FCC. That's all I can do.
All right.
Midnight Rider, how you feeling tonight?
I'm good, man. Just last second running around trying to get situated. I forgot all about DX 25th. I was more worried about Bray coming back. So,
And now we covered that on the WrestleManiacs Extreme Rules React. That was moment of the night, but match of the night. Once again, I'll say it again: Bayley versus Bianca. Excellent ladder match. If you haven't watched that, please go to Peacock and rewatch that. We were supposed to get into this show last night, but due to technical difficulties and me fat fingering shit, I'm 41 now and I'm just messing everything up. I can't get it right. I type like this now. This is how I type now. So I messed it all up. But here we are tonight. Man, let's start this thing off right because I ain't even did it right. And Lady C, she says, well, the boy whooped my ass last night. Well, the boy's whooping my ass right now because I ain't doing it right. But here we go. Yesterday's game, 21-17. Washington took the L. They almost came through on my prediction of 6 sacks. They got 5. But we're going to start off with offense first. Now, if you would have joined us last night, you would have understood where a lot of this came from because I'm repeating a lot of things. Last night, Carson Wentz, 25 of 38, 359, 2 touchdowns, and a pick to seal the game. Brian Robinson led the team in rushing, 9 carries, 22 yards. Wentz even had 5 carries for 15. Antonio Gibson was barely sighted. 3 carries, 6 yards. Dyami Brown, 2 catches, 105, and 2 touchdowns. Scary Terry, 5 for 76. Curtis Samuel, 6 for 62. John Bates, 3 for 39. J.D. McKissick, 5 for 37. Antonio Gibson had 3 catches for 33. And, of course, Cam Sims and his 1 catch for 7, which should have been more. But offensively, overall, please stop it with the Cam Sims. Stop it. Every time I say his name, this is what you do. But overall, offensively, we'll start with the boss, BJ. And then we'll finish up with the Midnight Rider. Offensively. I hit the wrong thing. All right, offensively. Overall, what do you give the grade for this team? Offensively.
Offensively yesterday, and I think it's I can never say his name right. Is it Dyami Brown? How do you say his name? Dyami Brown. However you say his name, he's irrelevant. The 2 catches for whatever, a buck, whatever, 2 touchdowns. Like those were the highlights of the afternoon for the offense. They couldn't get anything going on the ground, which hurt them. It's just so much to unpack here. The mismanagement of time. But for me, I'll give the overall grade for the offense a C-. C-. I could go D+, but I'm gonna go C- just because of the 2 big play touchdowns. You get to see why Carson Wentz was kind of bought in him because he has a big arm. He can make those plays downfield. It's just everything else we're questioning now.
So I see it with actually the same grade. I got a C-. My big takeaway was, yes, they finally found Dyami Brown, but for some reason this offense still lacks the ability to get its main players touches. Main player being Terry McLaurin in this situation. What also bothers me is just the lack of attempt to stay with the run game, trying to just get something done in the running department. It's mind-boggling to me that some of the ratio we're at in terms of run to pass. It's just, I don't know. It's like we can't get anything consistent. You don't start off the game well with drives, so that I don't mind you deferring. But the other problem is if you're not going to try to steal points before the half, then there's no need to defer. You might as well just go ahead and take the ball in the beginning of the ball game. I mean, if you're not going to take advantage of what's supposed to be a natural swing or a momentum builder, then it's pointless to me. That's all I got.
Let me say this, and you guys were generous with your grades. You said C minus. I guess I can go with C minus. I mean, that's generous because that team, they played pretty damn well for 3 quarters. Well, 4 quarters, not quite. 3 quarters and 13 minutes. They played very, very well on offense. Didn't see a lot of Trustway, but the defense, which we'll get to, did its job. But that Tennessee defense made it hard. You know, BJ, he commented that, and he said it in pregame. He said, this team is fast. They're fast. And we couldn't get separation. But when we finally did get separation, you see things happen. So, hey, Carson was brought in here for a reason. Statistically, he's having an amazing season, but it's not reflecting with the win. I mean, I'm sorry, in the win column. So, any rebuttal on offense before we move over to the defense? All right.
Nah, no rebuttal.
Defense overall. Of course, I said 6 sacks in the pregame show. They got 5. I was sitting there counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I was waiting for that 6, and they get close to giving me 6. But this time we're gonna start off with the Midnight Rider first. What you think about the defense overall? Then we'll throw it to the boss, BJ, to wrap it up.
I think the stars of the day were Montez Sweat and Cole Holcomb. Holcomb had about 15 or 16 tackles, about 8 solos or 10 solos. I don't have the exact numbers off the top of my head. Montez Sweat should have had 3 sacks. I don't know how they allow that one throw by Tannehill when he's in the grass to get off. I think the league has got to find that line, because if you allow him to do that, then what? If the guy can't take him down to the ground aggressively, you got to give me one or the other. Like, you can't always penalize a defensive player for tackling the quarterback too hard, and then all of a sudden you let him stand there and struggle and throw a pass that normally Sweat would have taken him down by then. So I don't get that scenario. I don't understand why that's allowed, why that's in play. Secondary, I mean, they finally made the call on William Jackson. Thank God. I mean, they shouldn't let somebody get abused like that on national TV or on TV, period. I'm glad they sent a support group out and helped him and got him off the field. And last but not least, safeties. I just don't get the Bobby McCann thing anymore. Maybe it's just me. I just don't get them. I don't understand it. Overall grade, this is probably being nice. They were a C, but I just don't get how this team can get momentum and our defense just gives it away on the very next drive. Like, they get ran through like a hot knife through butter. So that's really it. I think they're a C. A couple of good performances, and that's about it. That's all.
You know, I know we come on here and we kill them, you know, when their performances are bad. But, you know, give credit where credit is due. And I'll give them a C+ on defense just because they were giving Ryan Tannehill pressure. They got 5 sacks. It does, you know, that helps a lot. It throws the timing of the quarterback off when they know these guys are coming hot and fresh, like, you know, Krispy Kreme fresh dozen, you know. But that Ryan Tannehill throw is typical of is, and I said it to KG when he said, I said that is a Ryan Tannehill bailout throw if I've ever seen one. That's what he does. But here's the thing, and you know, not to stray off the subject a little bit, but the that ghost roughing the passer call from in the Atlanta Tampa Bay game, I won't go too much into that. If I'm a defensive coordinator I'm just telling my guys, you get a hold of him, slam him to the ground. I don't care because just like the Midnight Rider says, you're holding on to the guy, and even KG said it, that should have been blown dead because they had Tannehill for a couple seconds. Where's the line at? Now, if I slam this guy to the ground, you're gonna give me a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct, or if I don't, he makes a play that converts a big down for Tennessee. If I'm Jack Del Rio, which I'm not, I'm glad I'm not because he should be gone too. I'm telling all of it, if you get a hold of their jersey, slam them to the ground. I don't care. We'll take the fines because no one knows who the line is, and the line can end up costing you the game. I think that was a third down. Ryan Tannehill made that play, right? That's they should have been off the field. They should have been off the field. Cole Holcomb, you got to give credit to Cole Holcomb because a couple of those tackles were against 22, and he when he grabbed him, there's like no getting away. So we've seen what Derrick Henry has done to guys in this league, and that's one of the things we talked about last night. I thought they were super solid tackling. Like Derrick Henry had a couple runs here and there. For the most part, they kept him in check. You look at the stats from this game from the defense. You look at the score column and it doesn't match. That should have been a W. But there are other issues on this team that we continue to talk about each season. So,
and before we get into those issues, because one of the issues was time management, but defensively, Cole Holcomb, like the Midnight Rider said, 15 tackles. Montez Sweat, 6 tackles. And Cole Holcomb had 11 tackles solo. 6 tackles from Montez Sweat, 2 sacks. Bobby McCain, I love the Bobby McCain signing. Don't ask me why, but I loved it when we got him because we've been searching for a free safety since 21, and we haven't had a free safety that could play. Bobby McCain was the best thing we had going right then and there because I thought we had the strong safety in 26.
And y'all still searching for a free safety.
It was a play. And myself and the boss BJ, if you don't know, we were in the house yesterday, and I went off because Bobby McCain let a receiver get behind him. One of the first things they tell you playing free safety, don't let nobody get behind you. If you got to backpedal till you backpedal up the tunnel, don't let nobody get behind you. I got yelled at for that one time. Never been yelled at about it again. How do you let a deep post go like that and get behind you to the point that they almost score 6? And a hello to you too, Miss Monica Thornton. Hope you're having a wonderful night. Even though we all down the dumps right now. We 1-4, so we down the dumps. Defensively, the defense, I got to get a defense of B-. Got to get a defense of B-. Jamin Davis, man, he played pretty well yesterday. He showed that he can make the tackles. And I was telling the boss, BJ, I said it's a lot more communication on that back end of that defense than they had when 26 was there. After that play when Bobby McCain let the receiver get behind him, nobody else beat them after that. They were there. And if they weren't there, they were closing in, and there was just a lot of gang tackles. The defense is solid. The talent is there. I think the desire is there. It's just something not clicking. So, next topic, final drive miscues. On that final drive, we had not only did Washington have miscues, but also the referees had miscues because Washington had 2 plays that the referees botched. Number 1 was the Cam Sims catch that they ruled not a catch.
It wasn't.
Number 2, it was a catch.
No, it wasn't, buddy. The ball, you can see the ball just from what they do in the NFL. They've been consistent on certain things with the catch. Once you see the football move while he's sliding out of bounds and it actually gets some of the ground, that took the catch away.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying yesterday when we saw it on the replay monitor. He hit the ground and then that ball moved. And I was like, that's probably what they're gonna get him on, that ball moving right there. So it's like that's one of those ones where you have to take your fandom out of it and just put your football hat on and be like, that's not a catch.
It's what the way they've been calling it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's the same way with the Dez Bryant thing many years ago when they were in Green Bay. That wasn't a catch. Just because what you saw all year was proof that they weren't going to call it a catch.
Okay.
So you can't change it. You know what I'm saying?
Let me say this. And BJ, this is one of the many moments we watched opening weekend on Red Zone. This was the first few years of Red Zone. Calvin Johnson had a beautiful catch against Chicago. He went up, caught it, came down, fell. Touchdown, right? He puts the ball down and get up. They call it incomplete. How was that not a catch? They robbed him of that catch, that touchdown, and that win. That was a catch. Cam Sims caught the ball, got his hands under it. When he hit, the ball did not hit the ground. It was his hand. When he bounced off the ground, he went out of bounds. He was on the sideline past the solid white line. Yes, the ball did move, but he had already came down in bounds and was out. That was a catch. Then
but just like Ben's saying, if you go back through the rulings, it has to be a complete thing all the way through, no matter. And I know what you're saying because he hit the out of bounds strike, curled up with the ball, and you thinking it should be over. But the way they've been calling it, and this is probably one of the only things they've been consistent about calling, is that if any time during that I don't care if you hit out of bounds or you roll several times to get to the bench, if that ball comes out, that ball moves, they're calling it incomplete. And that's
okay.
and that's where they've been consistently with that, and like I said, the first thing we talked about when we saw the replay, I said the ball moved.
Yeah, you did.
So the ball moved a little bit, and you're at FedEx Field, so you know that they showing the replay, but at the same time, if it's a damning piece of evidence, I don't think they would have shown it on the jumbotron. They let the referee look at that. But yeah, it moved, so I get where you're coming from, but it's been a consistent call, so it's like I'm not mad at it,
Okay. Now explain this one away. And I'll leave this to either one of you gentlemen. Explain this away. I want to say it was Curtis Samuel. Gets the catch, backs his way out of bounds. The referee comes through, keeps it moving. He went out of bounds. Why didn't the clock stop? Now, I got an explanation from my son when I got home what they said on the broadcast, but why didn't the clock stop then when he went out of bounds?
Because his momentum was going towards coming back down the field, not going up the field. You can go out of bounds laterally, sideways, diagonally. As long as you're going forward, the clock stops. But because he's going backwards, the clock doesn't stop and you wind it up again. That's the simple explanation right there, baby.
And it's 100% right. I've been listening to talk radio all day, and that's the explanation. Going backwards keeps that clock moving. And if that's the rule, that's the rule. But I think if you dive a little bit deeper into it, this is coaching. Why don't your players know that?
Hold on. Because I know where you're going with that, and that's going to be next. That's next. But on that final drive, the boss BJ and I were in the stadium. We listened to the fans talk about, oh, why didn't they run the ball? You on the 2-yard line. Why didn't you run the ball? 13 seconds. Clock's running. You have no timeouts. One run could probably eat up 7 to 8 seconds. My only problem was the play calling down there because it should have been something different, something that they weren't expecting. Hey, the good old draw play would have worked perfect because Carson Wentz probably could have walked in. But start with the Midnight Rider, give it to the boss BJ. Those final 3 plays down on the 2-yard line. What could have been done different? What did you see? Tell me your opinion of those final 3 plays in the game sealing pick.
I don't like when you get to the goal line. Normally, most teams run the standard sprint right option, front cone, back cone, with a backside guy dragging across the back of the end zone. You didn't see anything like that after the first play. The next 2 plays, it just looked like he had predetermined where he was going to go with the ball. So it wasn't even like he gave the other side of the field a chance, and he did this a couple of times. This might be just a Carson Wentz thing, but he stared down McKissick twice, and that's the only reason that ball is getting tipped away in that situation. It's just something. I think part of it was execution. I think the other part of it was just maybe a bad play call.
Where do I start? You got 13 seconds left. You just called your last timeout, so you have no timeouts left. If this was a functional team that was coached well, you could run the ball with 13 seconds left because all the players would know, hey, we got to get up. And at whatever calls it is, we got to get up, get the ball to the referee, spike the ball. More than likely, you run the ball once you get through that because you know Tennessee is very well coached. I said that a lot. When Buffalo played them, I said that yesterday. The defense is fast and they're well coached with Mike Vrabel. They just don't have a quarterback. Okay, they know what to do. I think Washington, if they had ran the ball with 13 seconds left, they would have got one more play off. They would have wasted that much time because they're not efficient. Just like the Curtis Samuel thing. It's just like, even if your players don't know the rule book, your coaches should. So when you're talking to them, if you're talking to Carson Wentz in his ear set, you have to have him reiterate the little things. Hey, if you're getting out of bounds, go forward. Hey, we don't have any timeouts. So if you catch the ball in the middle of the field, try to run straight to the sideline. Don't run in the middle of the field. Just little things that good teams do. It's the little things that add up. And the little things add up to the end of the game when you got 13 seconds left and you don't have any more damn timeouts because you done burnt them for nonsense. It was a play in the game. Where Ryan Tannehill, instead of taking a timeout, they took the delay of game and saved the timeout. They saved their timeout. And sometimes you have to do that because those timeouts could become so valuable. And you saw it that last drive where now the play calling was bad, but I don't disagree with the shotgun lineup because if I got to get this ball off in 2 or 3 seconds, you can get 4 plays off. You can get the fourth down. You get 4 plays off throwing quick passes. If you run that ball and for whatever reason you can't get out of bounds or nobody gets up in time, you may only have a chance for one more play left. But this comes down to coaching. This is Ron Rivera. This is Scott Turner. They need to go. And this is enough of this. This is, KG, you can go look it up. At this point in the season, 5 games in the season, Ron Rivera's third year, has he had a winning record after 5 or 6 games? He hasn't. And we're talking about the same things every season. Little things. If you listen to his press conference today, it just sounds like a man that's tired. It's not the same Ron Rivera that was in Carolina. It's not the same guy. And then I know he's taking a toll with the cancer, 3 name changes, 2 name change, whatever you want to call it, and a cloud above him, which is ownership. But it's not the same guy that was in Carolina because they didn't make those mistakes in Carolina. Yeah, he had Cam Newton to save him and bail him out of situations, but it's just not the same guy, man. It's not. And at what point do you be like, okay, you got talent on offense, you got talent on defense, and it's the coach's job to put the talent together to make something happen on the field. And we keep saying a stagnant offense on the field. They moved the ball on that last drive. Surprisingly, I thought they did a good job. Yeah, it was dink and dunk, but he took what was available. That's all you could do with Tennessee. Ask Buffalo, ask Pittsburgh, ask the Ravens. That defense is one of the most well-coached defenses in the league. Fast, and if y'all were watching the game, the reaction time they have when they know what the play is, and you see them linebackers jet, is ridiculous. Like if you're a football guy, you notice that stuff, and it's like with that type, you got to take that. That's when it comes down. And I know I'm rambling. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get out of here. That's when it comes down to execution, route running, pinpoint route running is what you have to do against a team like Tennessee. You just can't go out there and just willy-nilly throw the ball around. You have to be precise with your things because they are on defense. So it's just like, how much more of this do we have to see, fellas?
Now here's the thing: we done moved on, and the boss BJ took us in right. He segued right into the next topic, which is blame game. What's next? Now, when I say blame game, who's taking the blame for this? Now, you got radio. I seen a somebody from radio. I don't even remember who it was, but they was like, "Hey, Rivera has to be gone at the end of the year." I've heard fans say Rivera needs to be gone by the bye week. Scott Turner needs to be gone. The whole coaching staff. And my question is always, and then BJ sent me something yesterday. D'Amico Ryan. Everybody wants D'Amico Ryan. The whole fan base. I don't want D'Amico Ryan. I don't even. What can he do? You know, he may be the next hot assistant, but so was Kevin O'Connell, who's winning, who was here. What was the other cat name? He coached in Seattle. Come on, help me out. He was one of the assistants under Pete Carroll, and he was one of the hot assistants.
Both of the assistants. The dude that's down in that's went to Atlanta. Now
That's
he's in
one.
Dallas. And then of course I'm drawing a blank.
Of course,
both of them.
But it was another one that was a real hot one, but he got passed
Quinn.
over.
One is Quinn.
Yeah, Dan Quinn is one, and it's another one.
What team?
It was Seattle. But shoot, look at Romeo Crennel. Look at Matt Patricia. They were hot assistants. What did they do as head coaches? Eric Bieniemy is a hot assistant. Been a hot assistant for years. Come on now, what are we going to do? Are we going to take a chance on the next hot assistant and fail? Or are you going to continue to, or what everybody say, oh man, we need to build better. We got a receiving core. We have our receiving room is stacked. Ron Rivera said, why do all the other teams in the NFC East, why are all of them winning and you're not? He said one word. He said quarterback. I think he's regretting pulling the trigger on that Carson Wentz trade. I don't think the quarterback's the issue because I think Carson Wentz is playing pretty well. It's just not resulting in wins. We got running backs. We need a little bit more depth on the O-line, but that's coming together slowly but surely. Defensively, coming together slowly but surely. What do you mean we need to build? We are in a building process. It just ain't showing up. You want to blow it all up and trade Terry away and trade picks and do this and do that. Then you're going to be in here and we're going to have to lose for another 5 years. My whole point is you say fire Ron, you say fire the whole coaching staff. Who you going to bring in here? Who wants to come in here to the shit show is my question. Because it is a shit show. Daniel Snyder does not want the problems that is going to come with him firing Ron Rivera. He fires Ron Rivera, that's going to create more problems for him, and it's going to make us make national headlines yet again. He does not want those problems. So kill that Ron Rivera gone stuff. It's not happening. Not right now, at least. Fellas, let's start with the blame game. BJ, I'll start with you. Midnight Rider, you take it on, and then I'll finish it up. Who are you blaming for this 1-4 start?
Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera. And when I said earlier that he's not the same guy, I think that it's coming to a point where his voice is going deaf on the team. I think that's where you could be a good coach, and sometimes your guys just are tired of hearing it. And I think that's to the point where the Commanders are with Ron Rivera. And you made a point where you say your receiving core is stacked. Even more reason Scott Turner should be fired. It's no way in three hells that you got, and I know Jahan Dotson was missing yesterday, but you got Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. We seen that pretty much Curtis Samuel looks like he's 100% healthy. So it's just so many things that you could be doing on offense that aren't being done. Carson Wentz, you flip the coin on Carson Wentz. You hope he come in here. You hope you can, revive a little bit. You knew you was getting a big arm. We saw that yesterday. But you would hope you could get him, because Indianapolis last year was horrible. So you hope you get him in here. You can revive his career a little bit, and it's a slow but sure thing. You can see it, and at times he looks lost. But the blame goes on Ron Rivera. Preparation, we talked about in this 1-4 start. We talked about strategy. All this is on the head coach. This is the man, and when the decisions come through the line, he can veto them, or he can approve them, or he can be like, "Now we're going with this." So we talk about preparation. We talk about strategy. The team coming out flat. We've talked about this the last 3 seasons. This team coming out and absolutely looks like they just got off the bus. They hadn't practiced or anything. Ron Rivera. Unfortunately, as good as a coach Ron Rivera has been over his career, I just think for his time with the Commanders right now, I think it's over. Now, you talk about them, national headlines and stuff. This team is already making national headlines still for the wrong reasons. And anything that come up with this team, whether it's the owners ousting Dan Snyder or just the shit show that is, Washington, the shit bowl that is FedEx Field, whatever it is, is that's not on Ron Rivera, but the team's play and strategy and it's Ron Rivera, man. Before I get out of here, before I send it to Midnight Rider, one thing I've been saying about Buffalo and Sean McDermott, and y'all have heard me say it. Yeah, this is cute, yeah, but can you beat Andy Reid? Can you beat Vrabel? Can you beat Tomlin? Can you beat Harbaugh? Because they have been out coaching you for the last couple of seasons. Now he beat Vrabel a couple weeks ago, but they don't have AJ Brown. So that whole full Titans ensemble, but they got Andy Reid next week. All right, they had Harbaugh last week. This is everything, and you have to prove you can beat these and strategize with these guys. And right now, it looks like Ron Rivera is on the short end. What you got, Midnight Rider?
Gosh, you said so much. I kept I wanted to jump in, but I didn't want to cut you off mid thought. But I think it's on Rivera because he's the coach and he's the GM. And I think his comment about the quarterback, you got to remember, there's only 2 teams in the NFL that in the last 5 week ones or 6 week ones, they've started a different quarterback every time. So I think his quarterback comment is more about the stability of the position, not who's in the position. The other thing is, I think Ron Rivera now he's on 4 losing seasons in a row. And if they have a losing record this year, this will be his 5th. The only thing that's saving him, to be honest with you, is Dan Snyder being a show like KG said. Then, if we go another step further, I don't trust Dan Snyder to get this right. We haven't got it right yet. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, bring a GM, bring in a GM." Well, every time we brought in a GM, the coach was the person that brought the GM with them. We didn't hire a GM. Let the GM do the search like he should to hire the coach. So what makes you think this is going to work this time? We've always done it the wrong way. I had a guy I used to coach with. He said, "There's only one way to do things, and that's the right way." And that's what we're not doing. We're not doing it the right way. So it doesn't even matter. Like, you can go get whomever, and the structure around it is so messed up, and the floors creak, and the walls don't stay up, and there ain't no paint on the walls. There's stuff hanging out. Windows are broken. So, like, I just don't see it right now. I don't have confidence in that guy. I'd rather him stick with this dude another year and then figure it out. But I just don't have the confidence or the faith that we'll have a proper structure.
You said something very interesting. And I think that's like the headline of Ron Rivera's press conference when he said quarterback. You have to think of what this man has dealt with. This is a veteran coach. This is not somebody that doesn't know what to say in front of the camera. Don't forget he had to deal with Cam Newton. Okay, and Ben made a good point about the stability versus who's in a position. I think when he said that, it's a shot at both. I think he's saying that he's not getting the quarterback play he would like and the stability of the position. This ain't a rookie coach. This is a guy that is solid as far as like foundation wise. Solid guy, knows how to motivate men. And that was one of the pluses of him coming here. It's like, somebody can change the culture. You're hoping it could be Ron Rivera because he's a solid guy and all his guys like him. But that quarterback comment, KG, that was strong. I think that was strong. I think it was one of them Mike Tyson uppercuts where it jolts your whole body. And ain't just targeting. You hit it, it hurts here, but you feel it all down here. And you just want to go lay down and take a nap. I think but that when I heard him say that, I was like, ooh. And what did I tell you yesterday? I'm gonna throw it to you, KG. What did I tell you yesterday? I said, how much longer of Alicia's Wentz have before you see Heineke?
That's true. That is absolutely true. Well, let me start with the blame game. I blame unicorns and the mudmen. Ron Rivera can't do no wrong in my eyes as a fan, as a football personality, as someone that loves the game overall. The blame has to come from the top. And you can't put together a winning organization if you ain't right within yourself. And Midnight Rider, you said it. We never had the structure right. You hired the coach, and then you hired Marty Hurney, and then you hired Martin Mayhew. And I was happy that Martin Mayhew was coming home. I was very happy about that. If you think back, nobody. Dan Snyder doesn't really like coaches that pick his own players. And a lot of coaches feel like, if I'm going to do the cooking, I'm going to shop for the groceries. And I think that's something, I think your GM and your head coach should be attached at the hip. Where y'all talking every day, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go get what you need. You give me a list, I got it. If I'm the GM and Midnight Rider's the owner, BJ's the head coach, it's no way in four hells the three of us shouldn't be conversating about the business side, the football business side, what we want to do, what we want to get going. And Midnight Rider as the owner, I don't think he should be doing a lot of interjecting to the point that, we got to make decisions based on what he feels, because he's paying us to do a job. Let's do the job. We don't have that here. That's one of the problems that we have. So in my opinion, the blame game starts all the way at the top. So if you're going to take it down, we got to take it down to bare bones from the top, because the organization is not right. Having guys that well, that you work with well, is good, but it's also bad. After this loss this week, he said the comments about quarterback. He said only place we can go is up. Everybody's asshole need to tighten up, because your job can be next. That's the way it's got to be around. Are they still calling it Redskin Park? Well, that's I'm sorry, the command post. I'm sorry. That's got to be that's got to be the attitude around the command post. So, but what's next? Second half of this question. I'll start with the Midnight Rider. What's next? What do we do? How do we right the ship? Where do we go from here?
Well, there's one person I don't need to see at all anytime soon, and that's Norwell. I mean, that dude was getting abused. I guess, I don't know, maybe he just doing this to audition for the NFL Top 100, so he could be one of the people that do the voices, and he can just talk. Yeah, Jeremy Simmons ate my lunch this day, and this dude dominated me, and this dude dominated me. I mean, he's trying to get these people on the show by himself. So I'd rather go with the kid, man. See if they can get something out of Chris Paul. I need my center not to think he Pete Weber. I don't need the ball rolling back to the quarterback. So that's another joker that's got to go. Hopefully Larson's is back this week. But even if Larson isn't back, somebody, I mean, bring back Keith Ismail. At least, I mean, he might get ran over, but at least he'll snap the ball to you. And I think that hurt them this weekend too, in some of the timing of the plays and just your quarterback having to take his eyes off of the downfield action just to make sure when the ball come rolling back, he can get his hands on it. So, I mean, that's really all it is for me. I just want to see some semblance of organization from this team. I want to see Davis be used a little bit more in rushing the passer. I want to see Bobby McCann sitting next to Will Jackson, sitting next to Norwell. So, and if you go to a quarterback, I need those three to be sitting beside Taylor Heineke, and I need to see Sam Howell. I'd rather go with the big unknown just because I know what it is. Those two throws yesterday that Wentz made, Heineke ain't doing that. So now you got to change your offense and scale it down. And I don't know, man. I see the face, but I'd rather go with the arm talent over the guy that's just going to be plucky and yeah. That's all I see next, man. I see changes. Changes have to be made, and it has to be done with some kind of consistency because you can't keep telling us it's about competition. You can't keep telling us about execution if the guys that you got in the lineup aren't doing either one of those things. That's all I got, man.
I think the one big thing is I'm gonna keep mine quick. If you get to a point in the season, you're 1-4, 1-5, 1-6. When do you pull Carson Wentz? Because if he plays 70% of his snaps, y'all owe Indianapolis a number 2 pick. And you have to be, and it's not even about tanking. You have to be conscious of that. If you need that number 2 pick. If you come out this gate, I mean, who they play? They play Chicago Thursday. They're probably going to drop that. They play Green Bay. Is it Green Bay next? After that, they're probably going to drop that. And then what is it, the Vikings after that?
I think it's Indianapolis, then the Vikings.
Indianapolis and the Vikings. I think the only chance they have of winning the game is the Chicago game. I'm just being honest. So if you go out now and you're 2-7, you have to really think about pulling Carson Wentz and I don't care who you start at this point. Tress Way can go at quarterback, but you cannot afford to give up a second-round pick in the state that this franchise is in, especially when you have 2 known turntables on the offensive line. You can't. You need that second-round pick. And Indianapolis got over because there ain't no way that 70% of Carson Wentz snaps, I give you a 4th-round pick. Ain't no way and I know you're hoping that you can get Carson Wentz in here and make magic, but I think Washington got, but they can control the situation. Like I said, if you go out and you only win 1 game over the next 4 or 5 weeks, I'm pulling Carson Wentz. Or even depending on when is the trade deadline now with the 17 games. When is the trade deadline?
I want to say week 9, week 10, something like that.
I might pull the trigger on trading them somewhere that a team that might want a quarterback.
Well, let me say this. And Midnight Rider, you said something that I made a face. Going with the big unknown. And a lot of people were saying they wanted Sam Howell to start the season and that. Oh, the kid got a big arm. I'm not going off of what was done in practice. And I hate to go back and I hate to go from, make Keefe from the block the whipping boy. But he said that about Terrell Pryor, how Terrell Pryor was going to have 1,100 yards in the season off of 1 catch in practice. 1 catch. I'm not going off of that. I'll turn it over to Heineke to get something going before I turn it over to Howell. Howell might see some spot duty, but he's not gonna start. And November 1st is the trade deadline. Lady C is in the text window. She said Carson needs to step it up or get out the way. And I agree. But here's the thing. Statistically, he's not playing bad. That's what I'm saying. It's just his play is not resulting in wins. That's the problem. And they're not losing games. You know, of course, they got blown out in Dallas, but they're not losing games by a lot. 4 points here. You know, you need a turnover. You're not getting it. You know, this is the thing that I'm talking about. But what's next? I don't even know, because whatever you've been doing, throw it out the window because it ain't working. So that's what's next. But you gotta come into the Chicago game, and you gotta crack some heads. You gotta smash something. But moving on to our final topic of the night, in the Midnight Ride, I'm gonna give it to you first because you called this on the pregame show. Brian Robinson Jr. He came back, and he was the last player introduced out the tunnel yesterday. And I mean, the whole entire stadium stood up. Twitter's talking about it. Instagram's talking about it. I believe Facebook's talking about it, because when he came out, they played Many Men by 50 Cent. And they said that was probably the most hardest and gangster shit that happened in the NFL in a long time. I'm going to let you take this one and run with this, because this is all you. You called this, and I got to give you your flowers. I don't know if you called down to the field and said, hey, this is what y'all need to do, but you did the damn thing. So what you got?
No, I mean, I think the Mini Men thing is probably one on the list. Number two, don't forget when Omar passed away, the Ravens did the whistle. I think they do the whistle now before the game, so that's tough too. But I just thought about the story, man. It's nothing this world needs but a story of somebody doing something good. You know, him being in a position where something happened, he overcame it. I mean, that's just the story of this world. That's the story of what we get into. So I just felt like if this team had any kind of class, any kind of just someone who had any kind of sense. I mean, not the guy that picked out the porta potties to put Sean Taylor's family in front of. Not that guy. Not the guy that spelled London Fletcher wrong on the plaque and called him Flecker. Not the guy that made the labels wrong on the seals with all the wrong dates. They finally got some guy to do his job. He had one job to do, and that was to introduce this man last, and that's what they did. They actually acted like they had some kind of sense. So I just really was happy for that, man, that they actually just did the right thing for the first time in a long time.
Hey man, I ain't really got too much to add to that, except that, can you imagine if they had put him in on that final series and he walked in for the touchdown? I mean, and that was something I was thinking of, because he was down on the sideline near, the offensive subs. He was waiting, and I was like, put him in. That might be what you need. That might, because he's hungry. He's hungry. The couple runs he had, he was running hard. He wanted it. Sometimes you got to play off of that, man, and it is what it is. But I echo everything the Midnight Rider just said.
And I'm right there behind it. And for once, we got it right. Now that patch, oh my God, I was thinking about that sitting in the stadium. I was like, how do you get that wrong? How do you get that patch wrong? And Jason Wright was like, well, that's the years that no. Dude, you've been in this organization long enough to know 37, 42, 82, 87, 91. It's easy. It's on everything. Five-time world champions. Five-time world champions. Count them. 5 times. Always remember that. Lady C says that the offense starts out good and then gets sloppy. And she says Brian Robinson was a feel-good story, which is exactly what it was. Exactly. Man, I wish it would have turned out and it would have been a W for more reasons than one. Even my own selfish reason of it being my birthday. But one thing I can say is that Washington very rarely wins on my birthday. So, especially when my birthday falls on a Sunday, talked to the guys in the truck. One of the statisticians brought something to me. He said that on my birthday that falls on a Sunday, that the Redskins are 0-99. So, yeah, hell of a stat there. Hell of a stat, man. Hell of a damn stat. So, but when my birthday falls on a Monday, they are 1-74. So, at least I got one win in this lifetime. Once. And if you don't know the math, that is not a real stat. But it's funny. But last and final thoughts, gentlemen. Before we get up out of here, we got preseason basketball. Wizards are playing they're playing the Hornets tonight. High hopes for the Wizards this year, fellas, or we just gonna say, hey, yeah, go Wiz. I mean, I'm not gonna say they winning 50 games this year. I already owe BJ 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, and 3 dinners. They let me down enough. I'm good. So Midnight Rider.
Well, I just like for the home team to at least be a good watch. They don't have to be good. They just got to be a good watch. Last year when they started out with that hot streak, I was shocked. I mean, they had 10 wins in the first 13 games. I had never experienced anything like that. I mean, I think I got a sugar rush off of that. And then, yeah, that playing, woo, man. Talking about the bottom falling out. It was quick. It was terrible. It was painful to watch. So I'm gonna watch because I'm interested to see how they're gonna mix in Porzingis. How is Kuzma gonna keep trying to excel or take the bigger strides and bigger steps in his career? I know you guys don't like Bradley Beal on this show, so I'm just gonna say, if Brad is solid, I think they have potential to maybe get in that play in and just see what happens. But they have potential. I mean, that's all you can say. I mean, we've probably been saying they've had potential for 45 years now, but they got potential, And I just think this team is going to have a brand of basketball that maybe we can get behind as a city. And again, it's not my team, but I like the purple and gold with 17, baby. But it's just we'll see, man. That's what it is. Is wait and see.
I'm gonna tell you the issue with this team. I'd say every year when they started preseason, they played Golden State. Steph Curry was playing in that game. All Golden State stars are playing. Guess who wasn't on the floor? Bradley Beal, and he's not playing again tonight. The downfall of this franchise is going to be giving the keys to Bradley Beal. That's going to be their downfall. Go ahead, Ben. What you got?
The man had COVID. He was in the safety protocols.
It's always something with him. Do y'all notice that? When it's time to play ball, it's always something wrong with Bradley Beal. And to this point where we are now, I just don't think he wants to play in these games. And they're allowing it, which is going to be their downfall. This team right here, their ceiling for me is the 6 seed not having to play the playing games and then getting thrashed in the first round. Because just think of I've been talking about this team for forever, and the same thing happened this year. The Cavaliers got Spider Mitchell. They were already beating the Wizards. Cavaliers just added Spider Mitchell. You still got to go through Milwaukee, Chicago. They're not that good. We don't even know what they're putting on the floor. How the trio with Kuzma, the Unicorn, and Bill's going to work. I mean, if Bill plays, if he plays, 5th, 6th seed out the first round. That's my snapshot right now of this team. But I'm waiting for the guy that gave all this damn money to show up in the preseason game. I mean, it would be nice. It'd be nice to see, get some, gelling going now and stuff. But like I said, it's always something wrong with number 3. Always. Ain't that right, big guy?
Well, I tell you something that ain't wrong with this number 3. I show up. I mean, and I understand what Ben's saying, Bradley Beal slander. I get it. That's your man's. I get that. When he didn't show up in the bubble, and all he had to do was come in, ball out. Them young boys needed him. My shoulder. I decided to have shoulder surgery. Now? You've been playing with this long. Now? Broke my heart. because I love Bradley Beal. Broke my heart because he did it. So, Captain Optimus. Woo, Lord. Well, that's all our time, and we almost hit our target time. We had a buffer zone, and we did it. So, we are going to wrap this up. Let's put a pin in this Wizard talk because we're going to need to come back to this come tomorrow. I think we need to come back tomorrow and talk some NBA because we got preseason heating up. LeBron James got a new commercial out that's absolutely fire. The Lakers, Midnight Rider, your Lakers. Somebody said give AD the keys, but somebody called him Captain Street Clothes. So we need to talk NBA tomorrow. So that tomorrow, put that pin right there. We need to talk NBA because we got 3 different opinions, and you got the Lakers, the Wizards, and myself with the Bulls. A lot going on. I mean, Midnight Rider ain't really got to worry about us. He got one of the greatest players on the planet right now, in LeBron James, coming into what is this, year 19, year 20?
They're gonna be fighting for their playing lives.
Man, I don't know.
Wow, we got the big medicine cabinet.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But we will talk about that tomorrow. Lady C, thank you for joining us in the text window. Know you wanted to be here, and I know you probably take off tomorrow night since we talking NBA, but you need to have your behind here and ready to talk. Even if you only moderate, that's fine. But for the Midnight Rider, the boss BJ, I'm the big guy KG. You know the rules. We don't do no overtime. We are out of here.